Hello, and welcome to Yogg's Cast. Look at this fella with his horns. This is a Char Ranger?
It is.
Looking at a Ranger today.
I think this is one of. Is this your Ranger? It might be. I'm not sure.
Oh.
So you can tame juvenile creatures just anywhere like that.
Oh.
So they kind of lie around. And you can just make them, and they come to your level straight away. But they have their own little abilities. You can control them.
It's like a scorpion fella.
You've got you can rename them. So I'm going to rename this fella here Snappy the Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
He's lovely, isn't he?
It's beautiful.
And he's got his own little ability: shoot poison, knockback, strike, retreat. And there's all these pets. Look, boars, drake hounds, snow leopards, wolves, spiders, warthogs, ice drake. There's loads of black bear, brown bear, red moa, white raven, pigs. Ah, lovely pigs. Owls, mastiff, gold moa, salamander, drake, arctodus. I think that's some kind of wolf. Spiders of various types, wolves, flamingo, a Morello. I'm not sure what that is.
A flamingo. Oh my god, Grover. We can have Grover the flamingo again.
That would be amazing. So these things are actually just scattered around. You'll find them in quest areas where there are other of their same animal, and they're just called juvenile ones. They're friendly. You just go up to them, you press F, and it tames them, and it adds them to your list, and you can switch between any of them at any time. It's very convenient. F1 is your pet bar, and F1 is by default attack, so your pet starts attacking, and then you've got various kind of, ranged attacks as a ranger. Can't use rifles as a ranger. They're more attuned to nature.
Gutted.
But you can
Gutted when I found that out.
But most of the other abilities are sort of more ranged type based, and in fact, rangers at the moment are the most overpowered class in PvP, at least. The pets do a large amount of damage, and also the default auto attack of the longbow, much like the Mesmer greatsword, does more damage the further you are away. And I think that's this one here, yeah. So at 1,000 plus range does 42 damage, and also it's a combo projectile, so shooting it through stuff does a lot of damage as well, and that's pretty important. So the way these PvP teams have their system up is that they have a few people who throw down the combo fields, and then a series of rangers who shoot through them, and it's very, very, very powerful at the moment. Axes, you don't hit them with melee, you lob them. So I don't know what I'm doing here. Whirling defense, block projectiles. Throw a boomerang in a line, and it bounces. Oh, I forgot about that. So axes are all bouncing around, aggro, and all sorts of different mobs. I'm kind of making a mess of this, really. This one's actually a veteran, which is why it's so hard. And I'm also only level 4.
It's okay, you had Snappy there.
But Snappy did good. So that is a relatively short range. Professional, I'm dual wielding them, so you can actually swap out and dual wield slightly different things as well. This will ricochet by default off nearby foes, and if it's in range. But look at the range; it's so short range. It bounces around, which is handy. Spread pattern of bleeds. Isn't that a cool looking ability? Chilling axe is the third one.
Whoa!
There's a mortar there behind me that blew up. Block projectiles as well, with that whirling defense thing. So it is defensible, but I don't know. This isn't axis isn't usually a standard ranger weapon of choice, even though you start with it. Longbow is much more my kind of thing. I'm trying to sort of see how long range it is, which is sort of quite difficult to do, really. But these things stay still. I'm trying to stay up on this high ground, but there you go. So I'm in range now, and it's fairly long range compared to most of the other stuff in Guild Wars 2. This is longer range than anything else in Guild Wars 2, and it does more damage at range, most definitely. So as it gets closer, you'll see that I'm hitting for a lot less, if I can even hit it at all. There you go. So like half as much, basically, at close range. The second ability is a kind of channel thing where you shoot several bolts at once, and I guess the disadvantage is that you have to stand still in order to do that. I don't know what the third skill is actually. I guess I'm just sort of have to do this sort of from memory a little bit. I mean, that does a good amount of damage, so it is worth casting during range to do it. Vulnerability. Okay, I think that reduces. It either increases the damage they take, or it makes their endurance regen more slowly. I'm not actually sure what vulnerability does. Wow, I sound so ignorant about this.
We can't know everything about everything in the game after playing it for like one weekend.
Oh, this is one of the classes I didn't play as well. That's a knockback though, which is good. And all of these things count as physical projectiles as well, so they all work through the combat field. And this is like a cripple field, so you fire arrows up in the air and it cripples everyone in it. Like the old volley actually from Hunters that they took out.
You've made a friend. Hello.
No, he just came up and said hi.
Who's that fella?
I kind of didn't really give him any attention, so I was too busy killing all these drakes. I was looking actually for a juvenile salamander, because they're supposed to sort of spawn around this area. Rock drake. That's a hatchling, that's not the one I want. I'm looking for a juvenile one. But I don't think I actually found one in the end around here. So I'm going to actually just take a waypoint out somewhere else that I've been questing. I was hoping I'd got that waypoint already, but I haven't. This is the waypoint of the first instance, which is a little bit funny. We haven't really talked about that yet. Hopefully we'll do a video on it. We might have done one already by the time this video comes out. I'm not sure. But the first instance is kind of in a level 15 to 30 zone. Oh no, I think it's even in like a lower level zone than that. But it requires you to be level 30 to do it, which is a little bit odd. The instances are certainly something they're working on and need testing on, so that's something that's going to probably change a lot before the game's released. Whereas these sort of abilities are probably less likely to change so much. I'm equipping. What should I do? I've got great sword, I've got sword, I've got dagger, I've got warhorn. I'm going to equip a dagger offhand. You can't use dagger in main hand, only offhand. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to equip a short bow and a dagger. Okay, sword, dagger, main hand, offhand. That works. So here's my sword, dagger. Again, the abilities are kind of changed based on your class, so you don't get the same abilities when you're playing a warrior with a sword as you do when you're playing a ranger with a sword. And the short bow is much like it sounds, shorter range, more sort of combat style than the long bow. Often you want your two weapon sets to be varied, so you shoot someone at range. If they get closer, you use the melee weapons to do useful abilities. So your basic chain attack is your first ability. There's usually one of these for every class. The second and the other abilities.
Not the armadillo.
So that's a sort
oh my god.
A leap
how much
backwards,
damage?
but also you can leap forwards again if you hit it again, I think. So I can't. What have I just pressed there? My dagger offhand. I poisoned it with the dagger main hand, with the dagger offhand first ability. I don't know what I'm doing. Twist around your foe to poison them is the third ability. Hannah will write these all out nicely. Oh, I found a juvenile, so I can just tame this fella. I didn't realise it was a juvenile, so I obviously tried to attack it. And it didn't let me.
Oh.
And it's automatically called Snappy again. I think that must be a bug. So let's rename him to something a bit more appropriate to a mower. There you go. Beaky. So yes, throw dagger.
I would have gone with Clucky. Right.
There you go. That's the throw dagger. That's the fifth ability. That's my poison flanking one. And then I've got this leap backwards, and then I can leap forward again if I click it again. But I didn't click it in time. So it gives you this manoeuvrability. So moving back, and moving back forward again into the fight. See, quite cool. And then flank them, do a bit of poison. It's quite a nasty kind of playstyle sword main hand. Dagger is a little bit more versatile. So you've got the ranged throw, and the other one, whatever it is, I've forgotten. Oh god, yeah, Warhorn is amazing. Check this out. So this is I've already got that. Warhorn, fourth ability, summons a whole load of hawks, and fifth ability is a speed boost. So this is the hawk attack, which is
wow,
totally awesome.
That is messed up.
That warthog is really pissed at me. So I'm leaping around, stabbing it in the side. Isn't that awesome? That is amazing. I really like main hand sword actually, and the hawks are pretty cool. I mean, this is a good one for PvP and also PvE because, you know, it's really nice to have a speed boost. And the hawks seem to do a good amount of damage. I think they do some sort of disorient effect as well. I'm not entirely sure. It might just be damage. So, short bow, bleeding arrow, which makes them bleed if you hit them from behind or to the side. So, again, a useful ability, more useful in PvP, because often, you know, you will be able to shoot people in the back or side. That is a little jump backwards. That is a cripple, and the fifth ability looks like some sort of vulnerability thing. So that's a cripple and bleed, that one. And obviously the bleeds will stack with each other. So, you know, multiple bleed effects will keep stacking.
These are more traditional sort of abilities of this one, really.
Yeah, and that last one is a daze and a stun, a brief daze and a stun. So, yeah, it's very, very single target ranger, especially with the short bow. All of these abilities only affect a single person, and that's quite unique. A lot of Guild Wars 2 has AOE, a lot of classes have AOE. But here we've got a single target ranged attack, and that's, I think, why it's more powerful in PvP. It seems to be that everyone's using the longbows. I think this will change and these paradigms will shift as time goes on. So now I'm equipping the greatsword, which is a kind of a weird one. Again, very melee based, and it's actually kind of counterintuitive to what you would think, but it gives you a lot of maneuverability. There's a block sort of thing, which I think the idea behind this is that every class should be able to tank a little bit, you know, because it feels like in this game there are some big raid bosses and types of things to kill, and it feels like some of these abilities, like this sword block thing, are designed to let you just tank for a short period of time. So, you know, you can suddenly jump into the boss, be the closest one to it, block a foe, you know, or make it blind, and then, you know, roll back out again. It's weird. I'm not sure I like the idea of a ranger using a greatsword like this. I'm getting owned by these things as well.
Well, it works for the Mesmer pretty damn well. This is much more melee, but...
That's true, but most of the Mesmer abilities are ranged based, though. I mean, they turn the greatsword into a ranged weapon, whereas with this it's slightly different. I mean, you've got. I think I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So, elite skills and traits wise, we've got a couple of different ones. There's a different sort of series of classes of abilities. Some of them buff your pet and improve you. Some of them are kind of spirits that you summon, and they sort of just seem to sit there, the spirits. Hang on, I'll just kill this scorpion and I'll go back to it.
I think they work a bit like a totem.
So, looking at the skills, we've got traps, various sort of traps, all sorts of different traps. We've got some signets. Signets are these things that you can either give you a passive buff unless you activate them. Survival sort of skills, like that one, there you go. See, it's quickness. The quickness is amazing. It makes everything go twice as fast. I love quickness. It's actually a buff you can get off certain other things as well. And then I've got Sun Spirit.
Yeah.
Which is it seems like a little totemy type thing. But I'm now in combat again, so I can't actually change my abilities. And that one there, search and rescue. Your pet will seek out a downed nearby ally and rest them, which is very cool in PvP, because sometimes you don't have a chance, you know, to get your allies up. And also, I try to use it, but there's no dead allies nearby.
An important thing as well as a ranger is that your pet never dies. When it's low on health, it just sort of runs back to you and
I didn't know that.
It's essentially disabled. It doesn't do anything, but it doesn't die and needs to be rezzed, which always sort of bothered me in WoW. You know, my best friend, who was always there by my side, not you, obviously, I mean the pet that I tamed, it would just die, and that's heartbreaking sometimes.
Yeah.
Seeing it, you know, its body just limply fall to the floor. You don't have that in Guild Wars 2.
So I guess these sun spirits and things are like totems. Look, so they sit there giving you a passive buff for a sort of fixed duration. But you can actually activate them like I just did there, and it will trigger a more sort of short-term effect. Actually, I don't think I did trigger it there. I buffed it with the Warhorn instead for some reason. But yeah, I think all of these spirits have sort of triggered effects, a bit like the turrets. You know, they're stationary. You can't move them. I think you actually. I heard that you could move turrets around. Can you move turrets around?
You have to pick it up, and then there's a cooldown, and then you have to put it back down again.
I fiddled around and I couldn't seem to, but I think you're supposed to be able to. There was certainly a cogwheel sort of by them, and I've heard people say that you can move them around. So maybe that's something that we just weren't able to do because we're idiots.
There's like a cooldown on it though, so you may as well just get rid of the turret and then like explode it, and then wait for the cooldown and then place it again.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think that's everything. Thank you very much for watching this, guys. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing or frustrating. I think I got a bit mixed up with this one, since this is the first one I did, and I wasn't super familiar with it. But we're going to do 2 more, Elementalist and Warrior. So stay tuned, and we will see you next time.